Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Uncommon Power. Gonna do a collection update today. Got a stack of records, mostly metal, a little bit of grindcore. Not like classic Bonzer caliber metal, so don't get too excited. It's just more recently done metal that's found its way into my collection lately. So yeah, we'll start out with a split 7-inch, two bands from Colorado. Uh, they probably need no introduction because they're both pretty popular at the moment. But Spectral Voice and Blood Incantation. This was originally pressed in 2015, but this is a 2020 reissue on Extremely Rotten Productions. Um, Spectral Voice is among the best doom metal bands that I've heard, at least for my tastes. Um, they start out all sinister, it kicks into a pretty awesome song, and it ends with the wind whistling through the trees for longer than I would probably like. Such an overused trope, but it is what it is. It's a great track. Blood Incantation, progressive death metal. Uh, it's got some doom to it. Um, yeah, kind of like if you cross like death and maybe, I don't know, somebody like Grave, maybe. Eh, I don't know. Good record. Buy it. Next up, another split 7-inch. Two Canadian bands here. Funeral Circle and Gatekeeper. Split release between War on Music and Hard and Heavy. Funeral Circles from Vancouver. Um, Gatekeepers from Edmonton. Both of them also kind of fall under the doom metal category, although not nearly as good as Spectral Voice. Uh, yeah, the Funeral Circle's got like a long instrumental part at the beginning. Makes me kind of picture knights on horseback or some such shit. And the vocals kick in, and I'm kind of picturing the guy walking through some dilapidated old creepy labyrinth with lots of lit torches and shit on the walls. Um, Gatekeeper, very similar musically. The vocals are a lot stronger, and they're sung as opposed to Funeral Circle, which has kind of more of the spoken delivery. But yeah, not too bad. Nothing super crazy, but it's all right. Next up, Night Terror, No Life Till Terror, on one of the most metal sounding labels I've ever heard, Crypt of the Wizard. Um, this band's from Portland, Oregon, but they relocated to Brooklyn, New York. This is it's kind of simply played, thrashy speed metal. It actually kind of reminds me of maybe if Celtic Frost, like early Celtic Frosts, kind of was trying to do a song that had some obituary leanings to it. Um, yeah, I don't know why I think that. I just do. So yeah, Celtic Frost with a little bit of obituary in there. Really can't go wrong. It's actually a pretty good record. Next up, a band's from Brooklyn, New York. This is on Iron Bonehead. Band's called Spite, Trapped in the Pentagram. This is decipherable black metal. It's you listen to it, you're like, it's black metal. You can hear everything going on. It's not a big wall of noise. There's nothing really orchestral about it or anything like that. It's just kind of amateurish, primitive-ish sounding black metal. No lyric sheet with this, but I swear one of the lines says the child of urine has a fuzzy foot. Now, I know that's not what he's saying, but I sincerely hope that's what he's saying, because that's fucking genius. So, yeah, Spite. Next up on High Roller Records from 2013, it's a Swedish band called Trap. It's called Assassinations. This is the one in the stack I'm not super fussy on. It's kind of traditional metal with a little bit of power metal to it. Occasionally kind of makes a foray into thrash. Um, the the problem I have with it is the vocals. There's two different vocal styles. I don't know if it's actually two vocalists or if it's just one guy doing both styles. But the one sounds like Curly Howard teetering on the edge of like a sheer drop off. And the second one, it sounds like the voice of a vanquished demon in like every B horror movie you've ever seen. It's that like kind of high pitched, wavering, fadeaway scream type thing, like you'd hear in like Evil Dead movies or Army of Darkness or whatever. But yeah, I find that kind of off putting. Not my favorite. And another on High Roller from 2014. It's a German band called Stallion. This is good. The record's called 24/7. Yeah, and that's the track on side A. It just sounds like a really well done new wave of British heavy metal song. Yeah, I totally like it. B side is a cover of "Flame of the Show" by Warrant, the German Warrant, not the cherry pie fuckheads. But all in all, this is pretty good. I've spun it quite a bit. So yeah, Stallion. Now onto the weird format that I don't buy very often, the 10-inch by Soil of Ignorance. Stop the Madness. It's a band from Quebec, been around for a long time, like at least 15 years. Split release between D7i and Doomsday Machine Records. I've been aware of Soil of Ignorance for years. I've heard them a million times. They always seem to get kind of dismissed as being one of those kind of like budget grindcore / noise kind of bands, like, but that's not the case at all. And they totally killed it on this release. They've got the right production for what they do. This is just heavy Napalm Death influence, like Napalm Death at their most death metal, I guess. Yeah, super good. Actually surprised me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, even considering the fact that I was fully aware of Soil of Ignorance and what they sound like. So yeah, definitely check it out. Comes on cassette as well. It's on orange vinyl for anybody that gives a shit about that kind of thing, of which I'm really not one, but cool. Next up, another band from Quebec. The Flaying, Angry Undead. It's on PRC Music, Rope Dancer, Broil, and The Grid. This is pretty good. It's old school death metal. There's a little bit of noodling in it, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's like technical death metal. Maybe like semi-technical death metal. They have a lot of these kind of interesting, meandering parts to them. The bass player is awesome. Vocalist, he's very throaty, but not over the top in any sense. My only complaint, I guess the only real downside with this record, is sometimes the drums kind of sound too mechanical for my liking. I find it a little bit distracting, but whatever. Small complaint. But yeah, sadly I feel this will be overlooked just by the sheer amount of bands that are doing death metal and shit. But if you're into something different, check out the Flaying. Next up, another Canadian one from here in Ontario, the nation's capital of Ottawa. It's Occult Burial, Hideous Obscure. I have their 7-inch that came out a while back. I got a couple of cassettes as well. This is great. It's kind of like the the early like pre-black metal stuff. A lot of like Sodom and Destruction worship on this. So if you're into that stuff, then yeah, this is definitely up your alley. It's on Stygian Black Hand, Invictus, and Electric Assault. So yeah, if you're into Destruction, Sodom, a lot of that Teutonic thrash from the old days, then yeah, Occult Burial for sure. And we'll keep her in Ontario for a second here. From St. Catharines, Ontario, down in the Niagara Falls area. Shit Liver, Hitting the Fan. It's a self-released 12-inch from 2018. This is some pretty interesting grindcore. The drumming is insane. Guy's got a super loud piccolo snare. The guitars sound like a swarm of bees. The bass playing's really, really well done. And the vocals are just brutal. So, yeah, what's not to like? I saw these guys play once in London, Ontario, at this weird dumpling restaurant that was letting people do shows in the front room for a while. And then they kind of blew my mind, really, because I mean, they were just a little different from the average grindcore band. Again, red vinyl. There you go. Ooh. So, yeah. If you can pick this up and you're into grindcore, get it. Now over to Sweden with another band that most people probably know fairly well, I guess. Birdflesh, Mongo Musicale. It's on Power Up Records out of Germany, or Power It Up Records out of Germany. Just solid, well-played, no-nonsense grindcore. Two vocalists. The one does, like, you know, monster vocals. And the other sounds like he's drank too much ginger ale and he's got that kind of phlegmy spit stuck in his mouth. They wear kooky get-ups on stage. They just seem to be, you know, having fun with it, not taking anything too seriously, obviously. So yeah, Birdflesh. And lastly, it's a band from Austria. It's self-released. It's a band called High Healer. Record's called Force and Finesse. That's a glossy-ass cover. But, yeah, the band definitely sounds like that. I couldn't pass on this, really, because of the band photos. I mean, you got Andy Overtone. You got Poison Poser. You got Dynamike. And you got CC Stiletto. Fucking studs. This is really just traditional heavy metal. Vocalist has kind of an odd style. He's weirdly flat and whiny, which is not super good. I mean, a little bit of this I can deal with, but I couldn't listen to probably the whole album at a sitting. I've had to do it in two, actually. But I mean, those fucking guys. There's actually a better photo of them inside, and I'm going to take the time to pull it out because that. Like, what the hell? So, yeah, if you want some Austrian metal with kind of shitty vocals, then High Healer's where it's at for you. That's all I got for records. I guess since this is a metal installment, I'll pull out a book I just got. It's No Speed Limit, Quebec Metal, 1964 to 1989. This is the English version. It was originally only available in French. Done by Félix B. Deposset. Translated by Genevieve Haas. Yeah, it's a thick-ass book. Tell you everything you need to know about Quebec metal. You got your Voivod, you got your Eudoxus, Lord Ryer, Trop Feroz, Dead Brain Cells. The whole goddamn bunch is in here. So if you can get a chance to pick this up, I got it from Temple of the hell are they called? Temple of Mystery Records. So they may still have copies. It's not cheap, but what books are? So totally worthwhile. I haven't really delved into it super deep, but it looks awesome. So yeah, that's all I got for today. So I'll be back whenever. So stay safe. Cheers.